All right, great. I can still see a few students in the queue, so let's wait for them to join and then we'll get started off with this session for today. All right, so stay tuned, guys. All right. So, guys, let's start off with today's session. Just to introduce myself, this is Deepak Agrawal, and I take care of the international admissions consulting at Career Launcher for all the top tier MBA, MIM, MS programs in India and abroad. Over the past 3 decades, Career Launcher has been helping and mentoring students for getting into some of the best universities across the globe, be it the universities like Harvard or Stanford or MIT or Columbia or Yale, or the top-notch Indian institutes, be it ISB or IIM Ahmedabad, Bangalore, Calcutta, Indore, Lucknow, and various other institutions across the globe. So, in today's session, we are going to discuss the management education spectrum. What are the different kind of programs which are offered by the universities across the globe? How each of these programs is different from one another, and we'll also be covering what are the admission parameters on which any of the top universities is going to evaluate you. Okay, and then further to this, we'll be covering the step-by-step process, what exactly one should follow in order to get into some of the best universities. All right. So I would request all of you to please put your profile details in the chat box so that I can understand the audience for today. I can find out that who is a working professional, who is a fresher. So if you can please type in your number of years of work experience and the target program. Okay, is it MBA? Is it MIM? Is it Masters in Marketing, Masters in Supply Chain, whichever program that you want to pursue. So please post it in the chat box so that I can help you with your specific queries too. Okay, with the kind of program that you want to choose. Okay. All right. Great. I can see student posting their profile here. Guys, you can put it in the main chat. No need to share it on a one-on-one chat. Okay, let's move forward. So as I said, we'll be discussing the management education spectrum, and then we'll be discussing what are the different kind of programs and colleges which are accepting GMAT or GRE, and we'll be discussing the admission parameters, and finally we'll cover the step-by-step approach for securing the admission in some of the best universities across the globe. All right, guys. So as you can see on the screen, I have curated a list of 6 different programs under management education spectrum, which are the most popular programs or which are the most preferred programs by the Indian students. So let's cover each of these programs quite in detail. So the first program is deferred MBA, which is specifically meant for the students who are in their final year of their undergrad or maybe in their pre-final year of their undergrad program. The deferred MBA program allows you to apply right in your final year itself, but you would be able to join the university only after completing the minimum number of years of work experience. But you get an option that you can apply now, secure your seat, get an admission, but join the university after completing the bare minimum number of work experience as per the university guidelines. So just to share this with an example, so Harvard 2 plus 2 program is that you apply in your final year, you'd have to complete, if you secure an admission, you'd have to complete minimum 2 years of work experience. And once you complete 2 years of work experience, you would be having a guaranteed seat at Harvard Business School. All right. So this is not a separate program. This is a route of getting into a global MBA program. Okay. So the students who are having excellent academic record or maybe excellent global exposure or any kind of par excellent extracurriculars and co-curriculars in the profile should ideally be aiming for a deferred MBA program. Second program is a business masters, which is specifically meant for the candidates who want to specialize in one specific business function. So, be it if you want to specialize in marketing or in supply chain or in business analytics or in finance, so you can go ahead with a specialized master's program. Now, for any business masters or any specialized master's program, there is no work experience requirement. You can apply right as a fresher. You can apply even if you have done a 3 year of undergrad program or maybe even a 4 year undergrad program. The third program is a Masters in Management, MIM, which is specifically meant for the candidates who are having work experience ranging between 0 years or 0 months, that is absolutely fresher, or maybe work experience of up to 24 months. So the students who are having 0 to 2 years of work experience and want to dive deep into management concepts, so those students they go ahead with an MIM program. So all the top-notch institutes, be it INSEAD or HEC Paris or London Business School, they offer this MIM program, and this program is even offered in India, which is popularly known as a 2 year MBA program. So that you must have heard of, that is PGDM or PGPM program offered by IIMs or maybe the non-IIMs like Exeter, IMD, SPJ. So the same program outside India is called as MIM program, Masters in Management. Fourth program is a global MBA program, which is specifically for the candidates having more than 2 years of work experience and up to 8 to 10 years of work experience. Now, the candidates who bring in some prior work experience, they're expected to have some sort of fundamental level understanding of how businesses are run. What are the different business functions? What are the different kind of roles and responsibilities in different functions? And as an individual, if you want to hone your management skills, if you're good with something, but if you want to dive deep and you want to excel in one specific business function or maybe take up a larger business responsibility, so you can go ahead with a global MBA program. So, for example, if you're a marketing executive, now you want to become a marketing head, okay, or maybe a regional head, or maybe a product head, or maybe if you want to get into consulting through marketing, so accordingly you can go ahead with a global MBA program, which is again offered by the institutions like Harvard, Stanford, MIT, INSEAD, HEC, LBS. And the same program is also offered by the Indian schools, which is called as a 1 year full-time MBA program. So if you've heard of ISB, if you've heard of IIM Ahmedabad PGPX, if you've heard of IIM Bangalore EPGP, if you've heard of IIM Calcutta MBAX, so all of these programs are 1 year full-time MBA program, which is equivalent to a global MBA program. Fifth program is a EMBA, that is Executive MBA program, which is meant for the candidates more than 8 years or 10 years of work experience. And these candidates, they generally want a program which is not a full-time program, and after having 10 years, 15 years of experience, you might not be in a capacity of leaving your job and going ahead with a full-time program. So that's why universities they allow you to pursue this program in a hybrid mode or maybe in a completely online mode. So this kind of a program is called as executive MBA program. Sixth and the last program is AMP, that is Advanced Management Program, which is specifically meant for the candidates who are working at a CXO level of an organization. If you're a CMO, CPO, CTO, CFO of an organization, so you can go ahead with this AMP. So this program specifically helps you to upskill yourself. It helps you to upgrade yourself if you want to understand what are the newer tools, what are the newer techniques, and what are the newer set of concepts that are being introduced in management education. If you want to upgrade, if you want to stay ahead with time, and if you want to stay ahead with the newer set of business challenges, so you can go ahead with the AMP program. All right, I hope you understood the difference between all the six different programs. Then comes the deferred MBA, where the programs are like University of California, Berkeley has business school. It has an accelerated access program. Then you have Carnegie Mellon, Chicago Booth, Columbia, Harvard, MIT, Northwestern, Kellogg, Stanford, Darden, Wharton, and Yale. These are the top-notch colleges offering a deferred MBA option. All right. Here is the list of the MIM programs. So colleges like HEC Paris, London Business School, SDA Bockney, Rotterdam School of Management, or University College of Dublin, University of Mannheim. These are the best set of MIM programs or what you would find. And most of these programs are predominantly in Europe. Then comes the list of the top MBA programs. So colleges like Stanford, Harvard, Wharton, LBS, MIT, INSEAD, ISB, UC Berkeley, Cambridge, Chicago Booth, IMD Switzerland. So these are the top-notch MBA programs. And as I said, that colleges do offer a one-year MBA program in India, which is equivalent to a global MBA program. So here is the list of those programs. So if you want to get into some of the top Indian for a one-year full-time MBA. So here is the list. And mind you, all of these programs, they consider only one exam, that is GMAT. Okay. So they would not accept any other exam. If you want to explore and if you want to take a common exam for all of these institutes, that is GMAT. Okay. So be it ISB Hyderabad, IIM Ahmedabad PGPX, IIM Calcutta MBA, Bangalore, Lucknow's IPMX program. Then you have IIM Kozhikode, Exilrai, MDI, SPJN, Udaipur, Great Lakes, and obviously there are a lot more other colleges in the tier 2, tier 3 category which offers a similar kind of program. Okay, and just take a note of the number of years of work experience, what it is required for each of these colleges. All right. Then I would like to mention that if you're a fresher and if you want to apply for a 2-year MBA program in India only, which is equivalent to MIM, so here is the list of schools which accepts GMAT. So by any chance, if you missed out appearing for the CAT exam this year or maybe preparing for CAT this year, and if you want to explore the alternatives, so one alternative is GMAT, and you would be able to apply to these set of colleges through GMAT. Okay. Now coming on to the admission requirements. So all the colleges, they would primarily evaluate you on three different parameters. One is going to be your profile, where your academics, extracurriculars, co-curriculars, internships, projects, and work experience would be thoroughly evaluated. Then comes your standardized test, which includes your GMAT or GRE scores, where your con score would dominate the verbal score, and the overall weightage is given that is near about 25 to 30%. And then comes your applications, which includes your essays, your letter of recommendations, your scholarship applications, and your interview, which would have the highest weightage, that is anywhere between 40 to 45%. So let's suppose if you're having any kind of gaps in the profile, or if you find that, okay, I have not enough to impress the universities, still you can do well by uh, performing well on your standardized test, that is on GMAT or GRE, or maybe by writing a excellent application, that is through your essays and through your letter of recommendation. So you would get a maximum weightage out of these two parameters, which are still controllable. Okay. Now, when it comes to profile, a lot of students ask this, that what exactly is included in the profile? Does it include extracurriculars? Does it include any online certifications? Does it include any NGO or a volunteering work? So let me tell you how do the universities they look into a profile. So the first thing is that if you're applying for a management program or any business program, so the whole objective is to climb up the ladder and take up some leadership roles or leadership positions in the organization. Okay, where you have the authority, where you have the decision making ability, and where you have formal authority of taking decisions. Okay, it is not voluntarily, or maybe if it is not formally designated authority. Okay. So in that case, universities would firstly try and find this out whether you have the leadership potential or not. And you have to display this leadership potential by showing any kind of initiatives or uh, uh, any kind of work that you have done where you have made people rally behind you. Okay, where a lot of people or maybe a group of people was listening to you, and they were all working collectively in your under your leadership for a common goal. Then comes initiatives. So if you have specifically taken an initiative where you have assessed a project, or maybe where you have taken any kind of responsibility on an individual level, and you've completed that project independently. So if that is there in the profile, so that shows your ability of taking initiatives. Then comes your innovation, where you have solved some business problems, where you have find out better solutions with minimalistic resources. So that shows your innovation, that shows your efficiency of work, that shows that how exactly you can allocate the resources into different domains. Then comes the progression. If you have started off something, let's suppose if you're a dancer, if you're really good with one specific dance form, how well you have progressed in that particular activity. Okay, so if you have started off something in your school, then you left it behind. But if you have something that you started off in your school, you continue doing it in your undergrad, and you continue doing it in your post undergrad also. So that shows the progression in your profile. Okay, in the business context, if you have taken up any specific project and how well you have thought of mitigating the challenges and scaling the solution, okay, or maybe taking it to other business functions or maybe other organizations, so that shows your progression. Then finally, you would be tested on the impact that you have created. And the impact should not be denoted in terms of good or bad. The impact should be quantifiable. So if you have done something where you can quantify percentage change, okay, growth percentage, or maybe increase in the market share, or maybe how well you were able to brought down the cost of a project. So if you can quantify the impact, so that shows your business abilities or your leadership abilities. Then finally comes your personal attributes. So personal attributes are defined by any kind of decisions that you have taken up. How would your family friends would describe you as an individual, where you have maybe contributed towards a community or towards a society. So that all contributes towards your profile. These are the key points in a profile. Okay, so guys, what I'm doing is I'm sharing a form link in the chat box, so that if you want to get your profile analyzed, if you want an expert who can guide you, who can find out what are the profile gaps, and how exactly you should um, like bridging those gaps. So please go ahead and fill up this form, and this would be a completely one-on-one session, and it will be completely free of cost. So and it will be taken up by an international admissions mentor. All right, so I'll just take a pause for 1 minute, have a glass of water. By that time, just go ahead and fill up this form. All right, so let's move forward. Now, when it comes to the standardized tests, so standardized test includes GMAT or GRE. GMAT and GRE, they're very important exams to assess an individual's aptitude, individual's reasoning abilities, and individual's decision-making abilities. All right, so these are the kind of skills which are tested on GMAT or the GRE exam. So now when it comes to the GMAT, so it would have three different sections. One would be data insights, second would be quantitative reasoning, and third would be verbal reasoning. When it comes to data insights, it would be having question types related to data sufficiency, multi-source reasoning, table analysis, two-part analysis, graphic interpretation of data, and you would get 20 questions for which you would get 45 minutes to solve. When it comes to quantitative reasoning, you would be tested on topics related to arithmetic, algebra, number system, probability, statistics, and permutation and combination, for which you would get 21 questions and 45 minutes to solve these 21 questions. Then comes your verbal reasoning, where you would be tested on question types related to reading comprehension and critical reasoning. So, reading comprehension includes passages, and critical reasoning includes argument types. So, causal argument, plan argument, evidence argument, and you'd have to play with that argument or perform a task on that argument. Either you'd have to strengthen an argument or weaken an argument, find a flaw in an argument, find an assumption in an argument, and answer the question based on that. All right. For which again you would get 23 questions and 45 minutes to solve these 23 questions. Now, GMAT is a question adaptive exam. Question adaptive means like if you answer a question correctly, so the subsequent question is going to be of a higher difficulty level. And if you're answering a question incorrectly, so the subsequent question is going to be of a lower difficulty level. So higher the difficulty, more marks you would get, and lower the difficulty, less marks you would get to answer that question correctly. Okay. So it is very important that you would have to maintain accuracy on your GMAT exam so that if you keep getting the harder questions on the test and you if you're answering those harder questions correctly, so you would get more marks. All right. When it comes to GRE, so again, GRE would be having three different sections. One is AWA, that is Analytical Writing Assessment, where there will be one issue given in the question, and you'd have to analyze the issue and write an essay on that issue. Okay, for which you would get 30 minutes. Then in the verbal reasoning, you would be tested on question types related to text completion, on sentence equivalence, or reading comprehension, which primarily evaluates you based on vocabulary. So there will be single blank, double blank, and triple blank type of questions. Then comes quantitative reasoning, where again you would have topics like arithmetic, algebra, geometry, number system, probability, statistics, and permutation and combinations. And the difference between GMAT and GRE is that GRE is a sectional adaptive exam. So sectional adaptive means like you would get one set of questions, that is section A. If you answer more number of questions correct in the section A, so the difficulty level of the section B would be higher. Similarly, if you are answering more number of questions incorrect in the section A, so the section B would be of a lower difficulty level. Okay, it is not a question adaptive exam, it is a sectional adaptive exam. Okay. Now, when it comes to what are the steps that you should follow in order to get into your dream universities? So the first step is that you'd have to set your long-term and your short-term career goals. So while explaining this to the universities that why exactly there is a need of a master's program, you really need to explain what are the kind of business challenges that you have observed, how well you have found out the solutions of those challenges, and what is your plan of action to implement the solutions or execute the solutions. All right. So this is where you have to set your long-term goal, which clearly defines a business problem that you want to solve, and short-term goal, where you would be explaining the plan of action to implement the solution of that problem. It could be through your roles, it could be through your responsibilities, it could be through your target set of organizations or the industry that you want to pick up right after MBA, and the kind of larger business problems that you want to solve, maybe 5 years or 10 years down the line. Okay. The second step is that you'd have to analyze the skill gap. What it means that you'd have to understand the kind of skills that you have acquired through your undergrad program and through your work experience, and the kind of skills which are required to achieve your goals. Okay. Then how an MBA program or how any master's program would actually help you in bridging that skill gap. So this is where you need to do an in-depth research of the curriculum of the program, you'd have to do an in-depth research about the B school or the college where you want to apply, and find out that how exactly that program or that B school is actually going to help you in bridging the skill gap. Third is shortlisting the right fit universities. Okay, what right fit means, that it has to be a perfect match. Okay, that is that the kind of goals or the kind of aspirations that you have, or the kind of skills that the skill gap that you have, should be offered by the university. Okay, if your goals, if your skill gaps and the kind of skills that you want to acquire is offered by the university or with that program, so then it would be a perfect match. Second thing is that you'd have to prove your profile suitability. So that includes that you fulfill all the academic requirements, all the application requirements, all the test requirements, and accordingly, you are meeting the benchmark of that university. Okay, there is no specific cutoff for any foreign schools, but they do evaluate thoroughly based on academics, based on overall profile, and based on your standardized test scores. So this is where you'd have to identify the right B school. Another thing that you need to consider here is that wherever you want to study, so you should be having the proximity to your recruiters. So this is where location of the B school, budget of the B school, ranking of the B school, popularity of the B school matters a lot. So you'd have to understand and evaluate all these parameters and accordingly find out which B school is going to be a right fit B school for you. Fourth step is to prepare for the exam. Once you have the clarity of which program or which university that you want to apply for, accordingly you need to identify which exam that is required, because there are a lot of institutions where you might not need a GMAT, or there are a lot of colleges or programs where you might not need a GRE or GMAT. So accordingly, if you have any such college which is shortlisted, so go ahead with the relevant exam preparation. Okay, and for any exam, be it GMAT or GRE, you would need at least 3 to 4 months of prep time. So accordingly, you need to follow a timeline also. Fifth step is to build your essays. So all the universities would ask you to define why there is a need of a master's program. How would you be able to add value to the institution? What are your long-term goals? What are your short-term career goals? How do you think that program is actually going to help you out in bridging your skill gaps, or maybe to help you achieve your long-term and your short-term career goals? So this is where you'd have to answer all of these questions in an essay format and submit it to the universities. Then comes your letter of recommendation, which includes the right identification of the recommender, who exactly is going to be the recommender to your profile. So in most of the cases, what we recommend, that the recommender should be either your immediate teachers or professors who have taught you, or it could be your immediate managers or immediate superiors who have mentored you or guided you. Okay. So these people actually, they spend a lot of time with you, assessing your performance, finding out the flaws and helping out in overcoming those flaws. So they would be in a better position to recommend or to validate the kind of claims that you are going to make in your essays and SOPs. Okay. Then comes preparing for the interview, where all the universities, they check and evaluate candidate based on knowledge aspects, based on communication, based on behavioral aspects, and based on why exactly do you think that the program is ideal for you, and that too at this point in time in your career. So this is where you'd have to prepare thoroughly for all the different probable questions around your academics, around your goals, around your work experience, around your post MBA, post masters career options that you want to go ahead with. And then finally, the last step is to apply for scholarships. So a lot of universities, they ask you to apply for scholarships uh, right at the time of application, but very few of them, they offer you scholarships only once you have an admission letter from the university. So this is where you need to identify the different kind of scholarship options which are available, and accordingly apply to each of those scholarship options. Okay, so these are the 8 steps how you can plan your journey to all the different B schools of your choice. Then comes the timeline. Now, when to do what? So, when it comes to the fall of 2026, as I can see the profiles that has been shared, so I can see a lot of students, they have work experience of more than 4 years, more than 8 years, more than 3 years. So this is where it is important that if you're looking out for the foreign schools or maybe the Indian schools, you look out for the fall of 2026. So for fall of 2026, this is the timeline what you'd have to follow. That is to get done with your goal setting and skill gap and profile building between October and November. You'd have to get your programs shortlisting by mid of November and get done with all of your essays and SOPs by mid of December. By that time, you'd have to prepare for your GMAT and GRE exam or any kind of profile building activity that we are going to recommend you. Then by December end, you should be done or you should be through with your letter of recommendation and your application submission. All the universities would release their results somewhere in January or by early February. And accordingly, you need to appear for the interviews and apply for the different scholarship options. Then you would have your final decision by February end or by March mid. Once you have the final decision from the university, then go ahead and apply for your loan or visa or any kind of accommodation that you might need, and plan your tickets for flying to the university somewhere in the month of July or August of 2026. So this is the timeline what you would have to follow. All right. Now, what we do at Career Launcher, we have both GMAT, GRE, online and classroom programs. You can go out with a group program or you can go out with a one-to-one program. We do have self-paced programs for both GMAT and GRE. So if you want to prepare on your own by going through a formal training module, so you can go ahead with our self-paced programs as well. Then comes admission consulting, where we mentor and train students with MBA, MIM, MS, and business masters admission consulting. Along with this, we have a division where we work with a lot of alumni of ISB and Ahmedabad, Bangalore, Calcutta. And these alumni, they mentor and prepare students for these top Indian institute admissions. So we have both international admission consulting as well as Indian B school consulting. Now, when it comes to your applications, what we do, we help you to identify the right fit B school where you should apply by going through the rankings, location proximity, your budget, the application rounds, any kind of preferred majors or any kind of preference in terms of country, whether you want to stay back or you want to come back to your home country. So accordingly, we are going to help you out in counseling for the master's applications or master's admissions by initiating your university shortlisting process. Then comes preparing you for the interviews. You all must be aware that Career Launcher is a pioneer in GMAT and GRE coaching. So accordingly, we are going to mentor you and train you for getting a very high score GMAT or GRE exam. Then we'll be helping out in formatting and drafting your resume, which is a university defined format. So a lot of universities, they have their own resume templates, and you'd have to craft your resume in their template and accordingly submit your application. Then comes your application essays, where we are going to recommend you how exactly you should present your long-term goals, your short-term goals, what are the skill gaps, how exactly you should prove your suitability for the MBA or for any other master's cohort at the university. What are going to be your contributions and how well you are able to quantify the impact that you have created so far. Then comes your letter of recommendation, where we are going to identify who is going to be your recommender and what exactly he or she should recommend you for. So we'll guide you that whatever things that you're claiming in your essays and SOPs, accordingly, the same set of things have to be validated by your recommender. Then comes the final steps, where we will be helping out with your mock interviews, where your interviews will be conducted by B School alums. And once you're done with your application, once you have your decision, then we'll guide you with your post-admission assistance, which include all of your visa, loan, accommodation, or any kind of other details that you might need. Now, over the past many years and many after mentoring thousands and thousands of students for GMAT and GRE. So these are our results. So recently on the GMAT Focus Edition, we had multiple students who got 100th percentile on the GMAT exam. So Karthik is one of them. When then we have uh, students like Siddharth Saridevi, Aviral, Shubham, who got a 99.9 percentile on the GMAT exam right in their first attempt itself. When it comes to our strength and expertise of sending students to the top institutions, so this year we had admits to colleges like Harvard, MIT, Brown, Cornell, which are the Ivy League universities. And we also had admits at the best B schools of the world like USC or ISB or INSEAD or HEC Paris. So this year also for 2026 applications, the students who have already applied for round one, so we've gotten two HEC Paris calls. So we have very, very strong validation on the kind of services what we offer and the kind of quality of quality of the admission consulting program what we have at Career Launcher. Then here is the list of the other students who got into schools like MIT, Stanford, Columbia, Carnegie Mellon, London Business School, or ISB, or Warwick, or all the other best business schools of the world. All right. So I formally conclude my presentation for today, and I'll be taking up any kind of questions that you might have regarding the process. So in the meanwhile, I'm again posting the form link in the chat box. So by any chance, if you missed out filling up the form for profile analysis, please go ahead and fill up this form right away. All right, there's a question from Sukesh. How to identify the long-term goal? Any tips or videos that can help with this? So obviously we can help you out in setting up your long-term goals, Sukesh. So long-term goal is specifically a business problem that you have identified and how exactly you're going to solve that business problem. Okay. So just to give you an example, one of our students who, was working on digital integration. Okay. Digital integration or technology integration specifically means where he was implementing some process, some technical tools for the small retailers to get their business organized in terms of keeping all the books of record your financial record of financial transactions, record of your stock, record of any kind of debits and credits that you have, and accordingly how you can improve your efficiency and improve your bookkeeping for a particular business. So he was working on that kind of a business problem where in a country like India, 95% of the population or the kind of businesses are run in an unorganized sector. So this was a large business problem what he identified, and he developed newer tools, which was the solution. But he had some challenges how to scale the solution, how to reach out to people, how to market a product, how to brand kit a product. Okay, so this is where he identified what are the kind of skill gaps, and accordingly he expressed his interest of getting into the MBA program to bridge those skill gaps. So this is what I mean by identifying and explaining the long-term career goal. All right, guys, I guess I'm done with the questions. Is there any other question that you might have? Does it have to be a business goal or it could be a personal goal as well? See, honestly, it could be a personal goal, but the point is how well you would be able to integrate with the need of an MBA in order to achieve your personal goal. Okay. So this is where you need to be a little more uh, specific with the kind of problem that you want to solve. I'm thinking of going ahead with career launcher for pursuing PGP in Indian B schools like ISB, SPGN. Will I be? able to go through all the 8 steps within the deadline for application? Absolutely. So if our counselors have confirmed your admission, so then obviously everything would be followed, Moni, and you would be guided thoroughly for each of these 8 steps in our admission consulting process, and that too within the deadlines. It mostly looks like a job description. No. See, long-term goal cannot be a job description. Okay. Sukesh, the long-term goal has to be a problem that you want to solve. Job description is specifically the kind of roles and responsibilities that you want to take up. Okay, so this is where roles and responsibilities or the industry or the organizations that you want to work with would be your short-term career goal, not the long-term career goal. All right. I would strongly recommend please go ahead and fill up the form so that we can get in touch one-on-one and help you out with setting up your goals. I had talked about intake ratio in round 3 for ISB in less than round 2. So applying in R2 increases our chance. Since I don't have a competitive GMAT score yet, I'm aiming for round 3. Any thoughts on this? See, I don't know where exactly have you heard this from, but uh, I work very closely with the ISB's admissions team every year. Not only with the team, with the admission directors, with the program directors of the PGP and the PGP YL program. Just to share this with you, that ISB does not have any kind of bias, and ISB allocates the equal number of seats between round 1, round 2, and round 3. Okay, so it's not that you would have a higher chance if you apply early, or if you would be having a lower chance if you're applying lately. The point is that whenever you apply, you should be having an excellent application, and you should be having enough confidence that you're going to meet up to the competition that you're going to face in that particular round. Okay, if you do not have a competitive GMAT score yet, so keep preparing for GMAT. Uh, you still have 7 weeks to prepare and to submit your application for round 1, round 2. So, like, make the best use of that time. Otherwise, if you're not able to get a good GMAT score by that time, so go ahead with R3. It doesn't matter. Okay. All right, guys. I guess I'm done with all of the questions. So it was really nice having you on a Sunday afternoon, and you all seem to be quite serious about the process. And I'll be happy to mentor and train and get in touch with all of you one on one. So just in case if you have missed out filling up the form, just go ahead and fill up the form again, and the team would get in touch with you and help you out with the further steps. All right, so that's all from my end for today. So thank you for joining in. And this was Deepak Agarwal, and I wish you a very happy Sunday.
Thank you, Deepak.
Most welcome, sir.